Welcome to the weekly 30/30 ASX trading list. These are the 30 best momentum companies over the quarter, as well as this week's 30 launchpad stocks, the companies that are fueled up and ready to run. The 30/30 list is on screen, and Gary Glover has scanned it to pick his favourites for the week. Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm great, Chris. How you going?
Well, I'm happy to see that the 30/30 list has been helping you out, and I think you've got on screen one here from a recent launchpad that might be a high velocity one now, a high momentum one now, is it?
Yeah. I mean, sort of. It's funny, we're sort of like a lot of these. We saw some of the gold and some of the lithium, and but yeah. So this there's definitely been some of these stocks that sort of been on the list for a while continue to sort of stay there. But yeah, this SRL, the Sunrise, that sort of only really took off there, a few weeks back, and now it's really getting some legs there, even some reasonable, like when we see this little tight pattern in here, and then you're launching again in pretty good volume. That's pretty solid there. So that's definitely got some momentum there. So it looks, on our chart, looks a little stretched here, but as we know with this, these high momentum stocks, they continue to keep going high. I mean, I think if something like a New Hope has probably looked like this for the last month, yet continues to sort of keep going higher. So that's why sometimes our charts can be a little bit deceptive there for us, but some definite strength there with this stock for sure.
That's a good one to lead in with. Is that from the momentum list?
That is from the momentum list. So that's the number one momentum stock at the moment on your highest ranking there. A few of the others in there have sort of probably been, I think, we've had New Hope and Grange and a few Mincor as well. So it's just some of the usual suspects are still pretty firm there. They've keep sort of continuing to. I mean, there's New Hope there. Just continues to keep looking strong. So look, getting long in the tooth. Obviously, volume starting to wane, but just goes to highlight, sort of sometimes these stocks can continue to keep moving there. The other one that I sort of didn't mind here was MGX, which is in that iron ore space. But the reason I don't mind it here, Chris, is seeing so we had some reasonable volume on the way up here, and then I think had some good volume on this next leg. If you look at the last 5 to 6 sessions here, again, we've just gone sideways and no volume there. So it's just there's not a lot of selling going on in here. So when we if we go back and look at, say, something like a New Hope, we can see that, it'd have its run and it goes sideways and run and goes sideways, run and goes sideways. So when we sort of see these sideways consolidations there, that's okay. You just don't want to see big, deep reactions there. So that looks quite good there for Mount Gibson. The other one we featured last week was Bubs, has actually gone on as well. So that was on our high velocity last week. That's continued to sort of go on. So nice little move there. Volumes are not too strong there, but it's kind of a lightly traded one normally. The other one there was obviously Myer's one that we've sort of highlighted a bit, but again, so far all the corrections have been pretty tight. Look at the volume in here. There's no no one's selling this stock yet, so it's not a lot of volume sort of going through there. So that's what you want to see. Sometimes you sort of, obviously we want to see good volume take off, but more importantly, when they sort of cool off, if we don't see volume come in, then we should be a little concerned there. So CAI, another one there with another really tight consolidation going on. So again, it's had a pretty good run there. All the pullbacks have been more sideways. This is probably a bit deeper, but again, it's more of a sideways in here, another sideways in there. So so just so far, not too many reactions there. This is a bit of a smaller one there. Northern Minerals, NTU. But again, maybe starting to wind up here. The volumes are okay. But one that I did see on the list there, which was Mineral Resources, which I think is a great company there. One of the reasons I don't like this, Chris, is that see how we've sort of seen this rally here, been on pretty light volume all the way up. And really only the last couple of sessions, once we've sort of got near 60, that we've seen volume sort of come in. So prefer to see volume pretty strong leading up into a high, and then maybe the volume start to subside, and then go for your corrective pattern and see less volume again. But if we saw all the volume starts to come in at the high, that can be signs of distribution. Yeah, so just got to be careful of that one. So like the company there, but the price action is telling me to be a bit cautious here. So a little bit how this reacts here, but I say it does concern me that this has all gone up in very, very light volume. So sometimes, it's like a bear market rally. It can be quite short and sharp, but they can be sort of just because it's just the selling just sort of subsides, and then the quality comes out of the market, and it can really push the stocks back up again. But just worries me the volumes come in there. So that was sort of one that was on the momentum sort of list there, but obviously been trading pretty strongly for the last month here, but just not really showing the strength that I want to see. On the Volatility list,
these ones that are rolled out in the launch pad.
Yeah, so the one that's moved the most here, obviously for the week, is obviously Pendal. So it's under takeover offer there. So it's always interesting. So sometimes you can see these takeover bids get improved, but yeah, again, we're sort of pretty impulsive move off the low there. We've now sort of gone through a swing high as well, so that's kind of positive. And yeah, you just want to see sort of consolidation. So yeah, it's a bit of a hard one with what's going on in the background, but takeover bids always conducive to higher prices a lot of the time. So yeah, so if we saw that one cool off there, might be interesting. The other one I think we might have mentioned there was that NVX. NVX, which we sort of had a pretty deep correction there, which is a bit of a negative there. But once we started to sort of break through a swing high, we sort of broke through there. What was that, on the 18th of March? And some pretty good volume too. So we actually did break through the previous swing high, some good volume. So that's a kind of a positive sign. That's one that I look for. And then we've come back and now we've got sort of one high low, a second high low. Some pretty decent volume through here as well. And then we're pulling back on light volumes. This is definitely one to sort of keep on our radar there, because has sort of broken the downtrend, starting to show signs of positivity. Volume's okay as well. So just want to see price sit on top of the old high. I'll leave some spacing there, but that still looks pretty constructive to me. Nothing wrong with that so far. I think NTU is one that I saw just a little bit small, starting to wind up, and volume's kind of interesting to me. The last sort of 3 or 4 sessions, the 6 cents is less interesting to me, but the volume is pretty good. IRI is that's an integrated research, which is sort of it was a bit of a star stock there about 3 or 4 years ago. Come out of the doldrums a bit here, just starting to build here, but again, our volumes are sort of pretty light. Probably just maybe an exhaustion of sellers there and counter moves. So yeah, maybe just one stock to put on the radar there, but so far just constructive there without being too interesting. This one's a bit more interesting to me actually. KLS is Kelsian Group, and this is more our sort of VCP sort of style, Chris, as we bigger correction, sort of smaller. So it's sort of tightening up as well. I'm still largely a flat type of correction here. Just want to see, we've seen a bit more volume on the up days as well. So volumes are a little light for the stock here, but definitely seeing, reasonably constructive here. So yeah, I think a close sort of above this high here is going to be kind of positive there. But yeah, of all the stocks here, this is the one that probably caught the eye the most actually. So
that's a nice solid base for you, and it's conforming with contraction and
nice and tight there. So I don't know much about the company there, but chart definitely sort of sparked my interest there. Just that sort of that tightening up there. Yes, there was Lumina as well, sort of one that's sort of broken above a previous swing high there. So maybe sort of gotten out of our downtrend sort of funk there. Oftentimes they'll sort of snap back in there. But this is sort of definitely sort of one to watch there. It's had a nice sort of couple of weeks up sort of on our sort of weekly momentum. Obviously we've probably got a bit of a weak kind of market at the moment. So looking for the stocks that are showing relative strength as well is important. So that looks quite good. Also, obviously, alumina being in commodity sector as well, different commodities are having different runs there. So, we should be looking at some of the commodities that probably maybe haven't had an awesome run because then maybe it's their turn next. LEG is one that's interesting as well. Sort of good volume out of the base here. Again, what we call a tightening up, a little triangle sort of setup here, and then we're sort of starting to build here, starting to break above previous swing highs, start building here. So a bit lightly traded, a bit small for me personally, but price action is sort of is sort of encouraging there. So so that's probably the issue with a lot of these stocks is they're a bit small this week. So we're seeing some of the smalls there. One stock to keep an eye on there, it's not ready yet, is Select Harvest. Again, we haven't broken a swing high here. Just noticed a little bit of an increase in volume down at the last low. Being at a new low obviously always interests me. This is sort of one to sort of keep an eye on here. So we really need to sort of break above the swing high, start to build a few highlights first, but it's just one that's that larger space there that's interested. I think we've mentioned Challenger a few times in the past here, just because getting this VCP sort of set up here. Looks pretty bullish on our weekly, and dailies are sort of showing each correction getting smaller and smaller. So maybe that Pendal news is sort of something for Challenger. But look, the price action, considering the weakness in the market here, this is looking pretty robust here. So if it can break through there, it'll be definitely one to keep an eye on there. Just showing real relative strength there, which is quite surprising,
especially in this market.
Yeah, that's right. So Dacian Gold was another one that's showing a bit of relative strength there, sort of coming off that last low. Got a higher low, maybe a second or third higher low in here. A bit of a sideways congestion sitting on top of the previous high. Always like to see that sort of pullbacks that sit on top of old highs and then go again. That's particularly good volume, so that definitely looks interesting. Again, maybe a bit too small for me, but just showing some strength there. And I think ARX was the other one that I saw there. So again, probably a bit small, but we have sort of shaken. Oftentimes we're looking for it to break above a swing high, or if we break above 2, that's sort of positive. Waiting for maybe the canvas here, but there's a sort of stocks that might come on the radar here, but a bit of a cautious there. I saw Wisetech on our list there, but I didn't really like the look of this. This has sort of been a bit of what I call maybe a clumsy rally here, and then when we go to a new high there and fail, so like a little false break up there, coming off, this is a pretty strong trend. This is like an overbalance of the trend, so always wary of a first lower high off that what I call like a overbalance of the trend here. So this one's
it could be rounding another lower high, could it?
Yeah, that's right. So that's often how they're set up here. You get the lower high and then you get a little false break here, possibly a little trap. So it's probably one to be a bit cautious of. But look, pretty messy market this year. No, probably this week. Not obviously a bit of a mixed bag in there with the stocks. Amazing how just so some of the stocks that we've been covering here just keep staying in these sort of in these, particularly the quarterly momentum too. Just some of those stocks that are still going higher here. They've been running for a while here now. So it's kind of teaching us not to sort of switch off just because sort of something's had a good run and looks a little bit extended. What we need to do there is look for sort of periods of consolidations in those, or little sideways, and then once they break, we can go with them again. So just highlights the value of this list for me, Chris, is that look for these stronger stocks. Sometimes they'll remain strong for quite a bit longer than you think, and then obviously our high velocity are sort of ones that sort of move, and then if you get the right ones in there, they can move again. Like that SRL, we had that in there, I think the last couple of weeks, so that's really gone on with it. So another interesting list.
Nice. Well, that's a good dissection of it. You've covered a whole lot of groups and ranges and large caps, small caps, and really talked about the state of the market. So would you still classify this as kind of a stock pickers market and playing to the favourite of those who can really pick the stocks?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's a sort of I think it's going to be a really interesting 3 months here. I think you've got. I think you've got a week. I think growth is in trouble, but these commodity sectors still remain really buoyant. So I even saw Jeremy Grantham sort of come out and said that he just sort of sees a commodity shortage considering what's happening with the Russia-Ukraine situation. So just puts a bit of pressure on there. I mean, it feels like it's a lot of those sort of commodities have run a bit too hot for me, but they've looked hot for a while, to be honest with you, and they've sort of managed to sort of stay pretty tight here. So the key there is just looking for a breather, but and the consolidation that sort of doesn't weaken too much, it just sort of holds tight. So those stronger stocks there, they just have a little bit of a sideways consolidation and away they go again. So it might be a bit tricky the next 3 months if I'm right about my view, but it still seems to be sort of plenty of things that are moving.
And just on that, you've mentioned that commodities are still running and going for longer than what we'd think. Does that echo back to the commodity super cycle 03 through 07 for you?
Yeah, it's a different sort of one here, really. So it's a different type of cycle here, because that was sort of, everything was sort of running together there. Where this one seems to be like, the commodities seem to have taken their turns, so they're not all running together. So so it's definitely more interesting. So than just having a flat out commodity super cycle where everything runs up all in the same direction all at the same time. This is giving traders a chance to actually move from metal to metal and look at different areas. So this is, but typically, if you look at the 40s, the 70s, sort of what they refer to as sort of these lower growth markets, there were actually more volatile periods in the markets, some bigger swings. Sometimes a straight bull market going up, growth market is, it's easy because everyone can make money. But when the market's in the lower growth, you just get bigger swings here. So people can get hurt here. But if you trade properly, could be a really prosperous period for the traders there, able to be stock pickers. So I reckon there's something for everyone here.
Nice. Well, we'll keep coming back to these lists and your insights on them. So thank you very much for the insights again, Gary.
Thanks, Chris.